Hi everyone, this is Alejandra. This week I'm going to show you how to consolidate all of these PDF files into a table or pivot table using Power Query. And you can see that the titles stand in different lines on each file. So we are going to remove the lines that we don't want using an M function this time. So we can get this pivot table as a result, or also you can get a table if you prefer so. If you like what you see here, remember to subscribe and let's get started. Let me open these files and show you what information we're going to consolidate. So let me organize here. You can see that the report for payment 1 has 2 lines above the titles of each column. This is a report from our customer who is sending us all the details for payment number 1. So for them, we are their vendor, that's why the title, and they are sending us the invoice number, the PO connected to that invoice, and the amount that they are paying for each document. Let's see payment 2. This one has one more line above the titles of our columns, and you can see it's a little bit longer. Payment 3 has only 2 lines, and you can see that it has 3 pages. I'm going to close this and I'm going to go to a blank workbook. Here I go to data, get data from file, from folder. This is the folder that we just looked at, demo folder. I click open and you will see the content of that folder. I can see my 3 files, payment 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to combine that information, but I'm not ready to combine and load. I need to transform that information first. So I select combine and transform data. You will see that Power Query is bringing one file as a sample. It's bringing the first file, and that's fine with me. Here I can see the content of that file. I can see a table and 2 pages. I don't need the pages, I want the table. I select that and I press OK. The Power Query editor will open. And you will see some information right here on the left. This is our sample file, so we are going to make all the changes on this file, and those changes will be applied to all the other files. Okay. First thing, here in my other queries, I need to remove this step, change type. I don't want that right now, and it will give me an error later on, so I might as well just delete it right now. I like this because it has the source name, so I have the payment number here. At the end, we will modify this information just a little bit. But for now, let's go back to our sample file and start working there. You won't see that reference here, it's only on this query. Here you can see the source. You can see from here, from all our files in the folder, Power Query selected one of them, and that's what we're seeing here as a sample file. And this is the function that will be applied to all the files in the folder. Okay, so let's go to our sample file. Here I'm going to start modifying our file. I need to remove the lines that are above our column names, but as I show you, these lines will be different on each file. So I'm going to show you how to do that with an M function. Here on the formula bar, I'm going to click at this FX to add one step. I'm going to click at custom 1, press F2 to rename. I'm going to call these titles, enter. As you can see, this step is referring to our previous step that is coming from navigation. That is the name of our table. So you can see navigation here, table 001. Here after the equal, I'm going to call the table.skip function, open parentheses, and it's going to ask me for a table. My table is coming from the previous step, so that will be table 001, comma. I need to provide a count. I need to provide the number of rows that I want to remove, or I can provide a condition. In this case, I'm going to provide that condition. So I'm going to say each. I need that column 1. So each item in column 1 that does not equal document number, make sure that you write this information exactly in the same way that you have your title for this column 1 on line 3. If you don't have this information in the same way that you have it here, the formula is going to give you an error. It's not going to work. Now I'm telling my formula that I want to skip anything on the top that does not equal document number. Once the formula finds document number, then it stops and doesn't skip any other line. I can close my parentheses, and something very important when using this function is that all the reports must have the document number column in column 1, because that's the condition that we are giving to our function. The function works only because all my column 1s have document number as the title of that specific column. Just keep that in mind when you are using this function. I close my parentheses and I press enter. You can see that the lines above document number have been removed. So now I'm ready to promote my first lines as headers. I have shown you before how to do that by using this little table on the left, and you can use first row as headers, but you can also use a function to do that. Here, just after the equal, I'm gonna say table dot promote headers right here, and it's gonna ask me for a table. The table is the result of my table skip function. I go to the end, and in this case, that's all that I need to provide. Close parentheses, press enter. My first line has been promoted as headers. All the steps that we applied to our sample file have been also applied to our demo. You will notice that our function has also been recording those steps. We have our step called titles, and we have our table skip function, and we have our table promote headers. So everything is recorded in this function and is applied to our files. Now let's go to our demo query, where you can see the content of all the files. Here is payment 2 and payment 3, etc. What I want to modify here is, first, I want to remove the PDF extension. And here on the Home tab, I can select Replace Values, or I can right-click on the column and I can select Replace Values. The value to find will be .pdf in lower cases, and I don't want to replace it with anything. So I leave that part blank and I say OK. Now I have the name of my file, which is going to be very handy when I want to identify the payments with the invoices, the POs, and the amounts. Next, I'm going to change the title of this column. I'm going to call this payment number. Document number is correct for the invoices. PO, I'm going to change that for purchase order. And amount for this column is correct. Now you can see that here the data type hasn't been identified. I just selected this column. I can press Ctrl A to select the whole table. I can go to transform and select detect data type. I click there and you can see that Power Query detected the data type correctly. I'm ready to pass this to Excel. I go to Home, close and load to, and it's gonna ask me what I want to do with this. Let's create a table to start with. So I click a table. I want it in the existing worksheet. I click OK. You can see all the information from our Power Query editor is shown here. We have 271 rows loaded, and here you have the 3 payments, all the invoices, the purchase orders, and the amount. If you don't want a table, you want a pivot table, go back here to your query, right click, load to, and change that for a pivot table. A1 is fine. I say OK, and it's just warning me that this table will be deleted. And here I'm gonna have the payment number on the rows, the PO number, the document as well between the payment number and the PO, and the amount is gonna be on the values. Let me go to the Design tab, change this layout as show in tabular form. Let me remove the subtotals on the document number. So right click in any of the subtotals here, or any of the items on this column, and remove the checkmark on subtotal document number. And here we have the information on each payment very well organized and identified. And let's say if you just want to see the total per payment, let's go to payment 3, for example, right click, and let's expand collapse and collapse entire field. Let's go to the top, control home. You can see now the total per payment. Oh, let me change the formatting, right click, value field settings, number, formatting, number, 1,000 separators, 0 decimals, okay, and okay. And here is easier to see for me. Excellent. Now let's see what happens when I add 2 more PDF files to our folder. So those files will be, let's say, payment 3. So there will be payment 4 and payment 5. So payment 4 only has one line above the titles, and payment 5 has a few. So let's see what happens when I bring that information to our folder demo. Control V to paste those files. Go back to our workbook, right click, and refresh. And you can see that information here for payment 4, right here, payment 4, payment 5. Payment 5 is smaller. Let me show that to you. So this is number 5, and these are the invoices. And payment 4, it has much more lines. It has 6 pages in total right here. So you can see that the query is working properly. I love this. I hope you found this information useful. If you like it, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, share with anybody that you believe can benefit from it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.